So first of all, I would extend my gratitude to distinguished members of the House to have given their very valuable comments when dealing with the two amendment bills that I have proposed for the consideration of this House. So at the outset, I wish to state that many of the suggestions that they have given are welcome. And we really want to move in the direction through which we can enhance the quality of our higher education institutions. And of course, try to bridge
मोतिहारी में सर ये बर्निंग इशू है हमारे जिला के लिए, 4 जिलाओं के लिए बर्निंग इशू है सर। इन्होंने बिहार से झगड़ा लगा दिया है। ये कहीं कुछ बोलते हैं, कहीं कुछ बोलते हैं, बिहार को बांटना चाहते हैं सर। ये हमारे जिला के लिए बर्निंग इशू है सर। सर हमारे बर्निंग इशू है हमारे।
प्लीज यू नो मिनिस्टर इज रिप्लाई प्लीज नो लिसन आई विल अलाउ यू टाइम let him finish the reply. No, please let him finish the reply. Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, let the minister finish the reply. After that, I will allow. Sit down. I will give time. After the reply. No. That's correct. Not while the minister is replying. Why is this? Tiwari ji, please, Ravi Shankar Prasad ji, you know the rules. But minister is not yielding. Minister is not yielding and you are simply saying, no, please. If you want, I will allow you time later if you want, please. हमको टाइम आपको देगा, बैठिए. No, Tiwari ji, no, please. No, please. No, nothing will go. It won't go on record. तिवारी जी अगर आपको टाइम चाहिए तो हम बाद में देंगे, आप बैठिए. नहीं, मिनिस्टर इज नॉट यील्डिंग. नो प्लीज, आप लोग बैठिए. ही इज नॉट यील्डिंग. आई विल गिव यू टाइम. टेक योर सीट. नो प्लीज टेक योर सीट. आप बैठिए. लेट हिम फिनिश द रिप्लाई.
Let him finish the reply.
आप बैठिए. No, बैठिए प्लीज. It won't go on record. It is not going on record. It is not going on record. No. Don't trouble. Take your seat. Abaiti. No, Minister, please continue. Abaiti.
Sir.
Abaiti. Minister Ali, you take your seat.
Sir, as I was saying, that I'm deeply obliged to distinguished members of this House for having given their valuable suggestions, and we want to really bridge the quality gap that exists in higher education. And I'm sure that the suggestions made by distinguished members will go a long way in taking this agenda forward. Sir, first of all, let me deal with the issue of raised by my Chandan Mitra ji, who doesn't happen to be here now. हाँ, मैं उनकी भी बात करूँगा. उन्होंने भी महत्वपूर्ण बातें की. He raised the issue that the integration should become a permanent feature because the Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University should permanently be made the chairman of the Board of Governors. There seems to be some misunderstanding because a distinguished member who made his maiden speech today, Pradhanji, seemed to think that the director and the vice chancellor are the same thing. In fact, the vice chancellor of Banaras Hindu University is not going to be the director. Okay. I just want to make sure that we understand the suggestions made. No, it's not an argument, sir. He's right. So So I just want to mention one or two things, and we really appreciate the points there, and we are also very concerned that the character of the institution should in any way not be disturbed. And as my senior colleague Karan Singh ji mentioned in this house, that this is something that was debated within the university itself for quite some time. Some of the problems that might arise in the future, as you know, sir, is that the position of the Vice-Chancellor in a university is equal to the status of a director in an institute. And that creates a very piquant situation, because if you have a Vice-Chancellor of a university who is superior, who is chairman of the board, and a director of the institute working under him, that may create some of the problems that in fact Ram Prakash ji also mentioned, that we should not compromise the status of the Vice-Chancellor in this fashion. And so we thought that it would be better for the first 3 years when the institution is going, for the purposes of laying a strong foundation, to have the Vice-Chancellor as the chairman of the board, and then allow the Vice-Chancellor to nominate somebody else in his place as Vice-Chairman. Please, I am explaining, sir. I am trying to explain through you, sir, to the distinguished members of this House. We may have a difference of opinion, but this is the honesty of our opinion, and you are right in your opinion. But there is an opinion here. And the point that I am making is that and then of course, you, sir, as you know, when you select Vice-Chancellors of universities, normally, and of course he may be a technical person and a very highly qualified technician and a technologist, but many a times he is in the humanities. And as far as appointment of a director of an IIT is concerned, he is always a technologist. So I don't want a situation where this kind of personality clash occurs in the future of a growing IIT. So therefore, it is best for the interim arrangement to continue, and if in the course of 3 years we find that any changes are required, we'll certainly have a discussion with you, and if necessary, make those changes also. But as a first step, let this continue for the next 3 years. Let this arrangement continue. If you find that it's not workable, or there is any problem within the BHU, we can always revisit it. But I think there are philosophical and operational reasons why this should be done in the manner that I have suggested, sir, and at the same time retain the integrity and the heritage of the IIT BHU. And that's precisely why the name is not changed. That's precisely why it's called IIT BHU Varanasi, and that's why it's in the same campus. There is no problem about the land, because in many of the IITs now we don't have 500 acres. In fact, we don't have the luxury of 500 acres in the future IITs that we are going to build. We're not going to have that luxury. So we'll have to change the nature of the institution in terms of its physical structure. We probably will have to go high up in building those structures, and there is enough space in the 300 acres that we have within the BHU to build a world-class institution. So I don't think there should be any fears on this count, and I would like to assure the members of this House that in the next 3 years we'll be looking at how the integration is taking place, how the character of the university is being maintained, how the issue of cross-disciplinary research, which Chandanji you mentioned, how that is happening, and if we feel that integration is not proper because of the fact that the Vice-Chancellor is not likely to be a chairman of the board, we'll certainly consider that suggestion after a period of time. And you can rest assured that we are serious in all these things, because we ourselves want to maintain the high character and the heritage, as Dr. Saran Singh pointed out, of the institution. So I request you, sir, in the context of this, that let this experiment move forward and let's see how it functions. So, now, if you let me, sir. So, if you don't mind, let me just finish. Now, sir, the other issue, and this again is a very important issue, which has been raised by several distinguished members, is the problem of faculty. It is true, sir, that there is a gap between the sanctioned posts and the posts which have been filled up. But a part of the reason for this gap is also because the expansion in the higher education sector is taking place at a very fast pace. Our gross enrollment ratio was almost 12 a few years earlier, sir, but today it has moved up to 17. Because a large number of young people are going into the school sector, and I dare say, sir, that by 2020 it will move up to 30. And if it moves up to 30, instead of 17 million children going to college, sir, and university, you'll have about 40 to 45 million children going to college and university. Can we in 10 years produce the faculty that is necessary to meet the demands of the increasing number of children who go to college and university in the years to come? I honestly say, sir, it will be a very difficult task. This is not something that we can build faculty in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So we'll have to think of innovative ways to deal with this situation, sir. And I believe that we have thought of those innovative ways to deal with this situation. I might suggest, sir, that in the states, for example, I've got the figures for the IITs, I don't want to really trouble you. The total number of sanctioned posts are 5,142. The total number of filled positions, and these are figures as of 30/11/2011. The total number of positions filled are 3,334. This is in the IITs themselves. And the situation in central universities is also the same. The situation in state governments is even worse. Even worse. There the gap is 40%. So we have to work together in this. And the state education ministers, state chief ministers, Government of India education ministers and chief ministers should sit together and see as to how to fill this gap. Someone mentioned, sir, a distinguished member, in fact I think it was Balagopal who mentioned that, the NIT is in a very poor state. So yesterday I was in Jalandhar. I went and visited the NIT in Jalandhar. So it's a world-class institution. I request you to go and visit that institution. The National Knowledge Network is available in that institution. Children can take classes from faculty members in other high-quality institutions and sitting in their own class, and they can interact with the teachers. The best of faculty anywhere in the world through the National Knowledge Network will be connected to every child studying in any university course anywhere in the country. Many institutions have already been connected. Almost 400 universities have been connected. Almost 13,000 colleges have been connected. 18,000 today, my distinguished colleague tells me. What does that tell you? We can solve this problem through technology while we encourage people to do post-graduation and post-doc courses in India, so that by 2020 we build up physically the faculty. But we have to think of these interim arrangements. And in the next 6 months or so, 35,000 colleges will be connected. In the next 6 months or so, 604 universities will be connected through a national knowledge network with 100 BPS capacity. Which means the faculty anywhere in the country will be available to students anywhere in the country. But sir, there is a caveat to that. And the caveat is that we need to change our administrative structures. In some colleges, in some universities, you have a 3-year degree course. In some other universities, you have a semester system. Now, how does a child who is moving through the semester system, a student moving through the semester system, take access to a faculty member who is teaching somewhere in a 3-year degree course? So we need a consensus, a national consensus. Sir, I am ready to be blamed for anything, but I am trying very hard to build that national consensus. I am trying very hard to build that quality, sir. I have 4 pending bills in Parliament, and one of the distinguished members talked about accreditation as to why courses have not been accredited, sir. But that's precisely what that bill says. We have to set up a national accreditation authority under which all courses, all institutions will be accredited for quality. But that's exactly, sir, how this government is moving forward. But what we need is national consensus. What we need is support from the opposition. What we need is a desire to look towards the future of the children of our country. I am ready to take any shortfall, sir. I am a humble man trying to serve in my little capacity in the interest of the future of education in this country, and I am ready to be pilloried for any wrong that I do. But the one wrong that I don't do, that whenever I make policy, I don't think of politics. I only think of the future of children of this country. That's the only thing I think of, sir. The face of that young student is always before my eyes when I make legislation and when I introduce legislation. So I request you that all the issues that you have raised about quality are being addressed. All the issues that you have raised on transparency are being redressed. N.K. Singh ji, a very distinguished, a very, very thoughtful member of this House, rightly said that we need to revamp the whole IIT Act. And he's absolutely right. When this bill was introduced, the Kakotkar committee report was not with us. In fact, the Kakotkar committee was set up in 2011, whereas the bill was introduced in 2010. We have now requested the Kakotkar committee to now implement the recommendations of the Kakotkar committee so that we have a comprehensive bill looking at the 21st century and the challenges that we have to meet in the 21st century in the field of high technology that one distinguished member talked about. And it is with that in mind that we need to change the structures. I have already, while that is pending, liberalized the entire IIT system. So the government is no longer involved in appointing any chairman of the Board of Governors. I have asked that the Board of Governors themselves should appoint the chairman. I don't interfere in that process, and this I have done through executive action. In the IIT Council, sir, I do not interfere in the appointment of directors at all. The search committee decides who the director is going to be. They give me 3 names, and sometimes they don't. They give me 1 or 2 names. I accept it. I have never made an exception, sir. I have personally never made an exception. So while those legislations are being drafted, while the future of the country is being looked at in the perspective of the challenges of the 21st century, we, through executive action, are liberalizing and bringing autonomy into the education sector. And you can ask any director of any IIT, any director of any IIM, any member of any council in any of these institutions, and you will have the answer for yourself. The government of India does not any longer interfere in these processes. It is why in the National Commission for Higher Education and Research I have suggested that even appointment of vice-chancellors should be made through a transparent process. That the government of India should not be appointing vice-chancellors. It should be appointed by academic authorities, a collegium of academic people who should have a list of eminent academics from where the vice-chancellor should be picked. We are moving in that direction, but sir, we need support from distinguished members of this House. So I do not want to comment, sir. Sir, I am ready to take any criticism on myself, but I am not ready to criticize anybody else, because I don't think I'll ever get my reform bills passed if I start criticizing others. So I refuse, I will not. Everybody is very helpful. The state chief ministers are exceptionally helpful. And if anybody has any objection to anything, I will go out and talk to the state chief ministers. Somebody, my distinguished leader, Tiwari ji, talked about Bihar. I have rung up Nitish Kumar ji. I have requested him for an appointment. I am willing to sit with him and decide as to what we should do about the Bihar Central University as well. We have no problems. We have no problems. Because I think in terms of what the future of the children of Bihar, as to what they need, what they require. And I'm certainly have no problems in talking with, and I've already talked to him, and I already rung him up and said, let's sit together and let's see how this can be done. N.K. Singh ji also talked about the NIT. Actually, there is a section 11A, which is already introduced in the Act, which specifies the amendments that I talked about at the beginning when I sought to introduce the bill for consideration of this House. Yes, you are right about allocation of resources, sir. But if you look at the history of this country, sir, if you look at the period of the UPA governments, UPA 1 and UPA 2, compare the allegations made in higher education to at any time in the history of this country, and you will find that the commitments that this government, the UPA 1 and 2, has made on higher education have never been made in the past in the history of this country. Yet it is not enough. It is not enough. And I say that we need more investments. But, sir, investments will only come through economic reforms. And I again seek your help there. Let the finance minister's proposals for economic reforms take place. We will then get growth. We will then get extra money. We will get that extra investment, and we will invest more in the social sector, especially in the education sector, sir. And I request the communists, the left parties, to support the economic reforms, because that's how we will get more money. Sir, a distinguished member also mentioned about representation of SC and STs in IITs and other institutions. So let me just tell you that in all, and these are figures of 2011, in all for SCs, the total number of seats available were, in all the IITs put together, are 1,091. How many have been filled? 1,078. It's a matter of great pride that not only have we talked about it, sir. Someone said we only give slogans. No, sir, we not only give slogans, we implement slogans also. These are figures of 2011. Sir, talk about scheduled tribes. Total number of seats available, 544. Total number of seats filled is 537. Matter of great pride that we are implementing the inclusive agenda of UPA 1 and UPA 2 on the ground. Total number of seats in OBCs, 1982. Total number of seats filled, 1760. We are short. We are short by 200 seats. This does not take into account OBCs who have come in the general categories. But I assure this House, sir, that when I come back with the figures to you in a few years from now, we would have actually also fulfilled the dreams of the OBC. We are absolutely committed that unless the less privileged, the disadvantaged, the Muslim community, unless we support them and empower them through education, the kind of inclusive society that India needs, that India wants, that India dreams of will never happen. Sir, Janardhan Saab very rightly said the importance of the role of technology. And I think, sir, we should not look at the future by remembering the past or delving into the past. The past should give us inspiration because of the nature of the great leaders of the past, who were inspirational leaders, who had a dream for India. But the dreams of India and the way in which we are to realize their dreams change and have changed. Because the nature of society has changed, the nature of interaction of society has changed, and therefore we need to look at the changed India through the eyes of the young. And that's how we should move forward, and the role of technology there, sir, is extremely important. Ram Prakash ji rightly said that it's a sad day because the quality of doctorates in this country is relatively poor. I can assure him, sir, that now we are now insisting, not only are we giving better fellowship and remuneration to those who are doing research, we also have several schemes for enhancing the quality of our teachers. In fact, hopefully in the 12th plan, we will be able to improve the quality of at least 10,000 faculty members. We have several plans which are partly given effect to, and partly they are going to be implemented. Sir, another issue that N.K. Singh ji raised was as to how these IS Indian institutes are admitting people. So I made some inquiries, and I can tell him that the process of admission is as follows: 40% of the positions are offered on the basis of the IIT JEE test. 20% of the seats are offered on the basis of the KVP, and 40% of the balance are on the basis of the top 1% of all the state boards, results from whom a written test is done by the Indian Institutes of Science, Education and Research. This is the idea being, because it's a 5-year course, get students from all streams of the country, and it has been a wonderful experience for us. Because now we have realized that if you take the top 1 percentile from the 12th board, the quality of the students is as good as emerges from the JEE exam, which then we can move on to a single test. So there also we need the support of distinguished members of this House, but one distinguished member said, why should children have to sit for multiple tests? And that's absolutely right. We are moving towards a single test because we want the burden on children and students to be lessened from the 17-20 tests, and these coaching factories that are now operating in some parts of the country, which are, sir, Najmaji will appreciate this. You know, the best students in the country, if you go to any university, are girls. You go to any course, it's the girl who's always the topper. Then how is it, sir, that we don't have any girls in IITs? And the reason is simple, because parents can't send their 12th pass girls to quota for getting coached. They fear. How will they send a single girl there? So girls don't get the coaching. They are the best in school. They are on top of the class on the 12th board, but they can't get into the IIT system. We must change that, sir. We must get women into our educational institutions, the brightest minds who will take forward the future of India. It is already in the hands of women. I hope it continues to be in the hands of women. With those words, sir, I am grateful to the distinguished members of this House. I commend distinguished members to